Hello world, welcome to this next stream. How are you all doing? So we're back and we're going to continue working on the Open Focus Timer, part 15 actually today, 14. This is a summary of last week's stream. And before I get to that, I want to quickly thank Holger Krupp for a Prime subscription. Thank you very much, it's much appreciated. And John McCant is following, thank you for following as well. Okay, so first a quick summary of what happened since last week, as I'm active also elsewhere. And yeah, quick going through that. So I try to write one article every week. This week I skipped, like last week I had written an article about streaming, basically explaining what my hardware looks like. So if you're interested in that, check out jhut.medium.com. And this week, instead of writing the second part, because Apple announced WWDC, I actually wrote an article about my top 3 wishes, and you can read about it here. Just check again, jhut.medium.com, and see my top 3 wishes for this year's WWDC. If you're interested, check that out. Then a quick shout out on my Twitter, so twitter.com/jhut. If you're interested in basically these kinds of announcements, you can see I wrote about that. Also, I'm sharing other things as well that can be interesting. For example, currently there is a discussion going on in the Swift forums about regular expressions written by a DSL that looks like SwiftUI, which is a really interesting topic, and it's probably actually going to come to Swift. So that's something you might want, you might be interested, and other things as well. Like Twitter is actually introducing an edit button. That's also interesting. And lastly, that's mentioned again, my YouTube channel, if you're interested in the recordings of these streams, and in the future I'm planning to do more here too. Make sure to subscribe here on YouTube. The name there is Flying Dev. So that's that, but let's get to actually working on our Open Focus Timer. And yeah, I'd like to just quickly go through the summary from last week, so I get reminded and you get reminded what we were at, and then we can continue. So first we fixed an issue with AnyLint. This is an open source tool that is supposed to help you lint or write your own lint custom rules basically for your projects. And we released a new version there. Then on the Open Focus Timer app itself, we refactored the seeder to a mocked version, and we stored the category selection in the database. Then we extract the category selector from timer feature for reusability. Okay, makes sense. One problem we had was selecting a different picker resulted in nil categories, so we had a crash, and this is probably a screenshot of that. And we learned that you can actually hover over any field during being in debug mode, or also if your app crashed, and you can basically see the current value, which is something, it turns out it is there since Xcode, I don't know, Xcode 5 or something, so for several years already. But yeah, I guess I just rediscovered that. I probably saw that like years ago, but I haven't really used it. And I just saw it in the last stream and thought it's something new. Okay, next steps. These are the things that we're actually going to copy, because this is something that we might need for today's summary. Just continue from last week. So today we are on Open Focus Timer, part 15. Read a session here. I'm looking forward to use Open Focus Timer instead of creating these things here. But for now, we're stuck with this Notion page. And here's the next steps. So what we want to do actually, we want to fix the issue with the category pickers not setting their value. Yeah, we'll have to figure that out. Then show the category pickers on start of the timer. Makes sense. Show a summary entries on end of the timer. Makes sense too. Add edit categories and edit summary buttons to show any time during a timer running. So that's basically where we're basically improving now the UI, the workflow of yeah, a timer. Then next we would add a feature to create a new category. So that's like more advanced feature. That's like the thing that I think we're going to focus on this stream. And then obviously we have written many warnings for things that we haven't implemented yet, and now we could go on that. Okay, so let's have a look at the project. So this is the focus timer in the project. Cool, so let me actually just run this app to see if we run into that crash again. I'm just going to run it. And let's see if we're actually getting the same error like we did last time, it seems. Oh, I see even a warning written here. The app already running? No. Now it's starting. Here we go. So I think if we're selecting something here, that's where it crashes. Yeah, exactly. So it crashes when we select the value there. And the category is basically nil, and we have selected some entry though. So let's have a look at that. So let's stop this. Let's go to the timer feature, timer view. There we go. I'll start the preview here. Let's see what we're doing. Cool. And by the way, what's my line limit here? Let me check that quickly, because I think I have a new preference here. Let's go to add text 120. Yeah, I'm going to change that to 140. That's the same length as you have on Twitter. And I actually think that most people have now bigger, wider screens, and they're also higher resolution. So 120 is kind of feels like an old value there, and people, I think, can fit more into screens now. So I actually thought about opting for 160, which is like the old default was 80, and then 120 was like when the screens got a little bigger. And still a lot of people are going for 80 or 120. But I think we can read also 160. But 160, like if you're working on a laptop when you're like mobile, I'm not sure if that's going to fit the screen. Also, it's harder to find like logic if it's too wide. So I figured something in between, and 140 is exactly in between, and it also happens to be like the length of SMS or Twitter. So it feels like this has some meaning to it. So I'm going to 140, and let's also change that in the Swift format file that we're using to format our Swift code here. There we go. Where's the file? Format. 440 there. Cool. Let's get back to working. And you can see this is now getting quite wide, but we can still work with this. So let's run this again. And the picker here is not working. If you know working, let's just build this project. This works. Let me try again. Okay, I'm not going to meddle with that. And Mandy Buzz appears. Let me try to catch that. So if you're a Pokemon fan, you can play Pokemon in the chat. And you can try to catch the Pokemon that is coming, appearing every 50 minutes. Okay, but where's our picker? So let me just search for picker. Oop, I don't see a picker here. Did we extract it? Category selector view, there we go. So we have an extra view for that. In that case, category selector. Why did I call it categories selector? I feel like we're selecting one category, right? No, we are selecting multiple. We have category groups, and for each group we're selecting one, so it doesn't make sense to have that name. Start preview here. And I can see the picker now. So we have a for each list, and we have pickers, and you can see the pickers here as well. Selected group categories. Okay, so our issue is when we select an entry here, we get nil. And that's like the question, why does that happen? So we have a for each, so we're going through category groups, that's fine, we have a group. Then we're creating a picker. The label of the picker is the group's name, that makes sense. And Mandybuzz has been caught, cool. Selection view store binding, selected group. So the selection then is we're using a binding here from the TCA, and basically the getter is this here, selected group categories group. What type is this though? So selected categories, let's just go for quick help. This is a category group to categories dictionary, and we're looking it up by the group. I know that this is an optional, so if you just look up via a subscript in a dictionary, you get an optional, so it could be nil. And maybe that's the reason. Let's force unwrap that and see if that's going to crash here now. If it does, then we know somehow we have a nil value for the group in that dictionary. The send, category selection, category group selection changed. Okay, the preview failed. Category group selection changed, group and category. So we're running this logic, and also we could get into that logic. So let's go back here. Let's go to reducer. That's where we're getting that. So we're failing all the time. We're getting into here, and this is also where we crash. So we are receiving a nil value here. So that's like the logic here doesn't matter right now. We're just getting nil values. That's like the problem. Okay, I got it. And we are passing as a tag the category. So we have for each. We're tagging every text with the category, and the category can't be nil, I think, because this returns, yeah, it returns an honest array. If it's nil, we're going through an array here. So yeah, let's try with this change here. And I think, yeah, we can't run it from here. Let's run it from the app. Okay, we do get into a crash here. So our problem is actually lying here, that the categories doesn't have a non-nil value for the group. Okay, so selected category groups is our issue. Group category, selected group categories. But that's just what we're presenting. That's not the value selected. That makes sense, actually. I don't understand why we get, when we select this, like you can see these are values, right? Why do we get nil when this is never nil? Can I open the SwiftUI companion app here? Yeah. So I bought this app, which may be a quick shout out here as well. So basically, if you're lacking like SwiftUI documentation and you just want to have examples and things like that that you can quickly figure out, you can just search for SwiftUI on the App Store and you'll find the companion app for SwiftUI. And that's basically this app. It's not for free, so it only makes sense if you actually use it a lot, but I do use it a lot. So if you're using SwiftUI a lot, it might help. And what I want to know is just how picker works. So let's have a look at a normal picker. And you can see some sample code here. So when I give it a title, I give it a selection, and then I can just list views, and I just have to tag them with the right value. And the value is of type int here, so that makes sense. And then it should actually work. So this is exactly what we're doing as well. So I'm going to play around with the code a little bit, see how we can maybe get it fixed. I will just use a local state like this, just to see if that changes anything. So that's the category selection. Yeah, just make it a category. Okay, right. Just pass it a value. Oh, maybe not. Maybe just make it nil-able. Maybe that's the issue, because if the category type here is an option. Ah, yes, this is an optional. I think the solution here is to make this an optional as well, like category, optional, sum, and then category. So to tell basically the compiler that the type of this tag is an optional category, and this way the types match up, and then it might actually be fixed. I think we have to use model.category here. No model in scope, plus import model. Do we have access to model in category selector? Yes, we do. We might not need this anymore. Let me run the app again. See if this fixes anything. There we go. Okay, we found the bug, we fixed it. So to explain this for everyone else watching this later on, what happens in a picker is that in this case the categories by group is being gone through. So we have like an array of categories here. That's why we get a category. So the type here is like model.category. And so that's like the type that we get here. You see the compiler doesn't fail. So this is the type, and we're passing that type here. If we just say here category without this thing, so the type of the tag is then an honest model category. But our sending here, so the value that we're expecting whenever this value changes, is actually, as you can see, we're basically we're getting the new value here like this. And this is the new value that the user selects, and we're passing that here. And if we have a look at this definition here, you can see that this is a model category optional. So that's like something you need to know. This is an optional, and the value we pass here, though, was of an honest type without an optional. And that's why it failed. It couldn't match out the types, and if it can't match up the types, you don't get an error for that, explaining, hey, the types don't match up. You just have to know. And then fixing that was basically, I explicitly specified a type, and I say, okay, I have an actual value here, so it's sum instead of none. So if you don't know about optionals, basically optional is an enum that looks like this in Swift, something like this. Actually, I think pretty much exactly this. So one case called none and one case called sum, and then a value like this, something like that. That's what an optional is. So you have these two cases, and I just explicitly say I have a value, and that's my case. And that way the compiler knows that this is actually an optional type, and now it works. So that's why it works. But now we have fixed it, and I think it's already worked. Just committing that. So fix issue with picker tag and picker with picker not showing selected values, and that's the categories picker. Category pickers. Here's not showing selected values. Note. No, actually, I just explained it here. Also, we changed the Swift format, but I think it's not really worth mentioning. The width that we changed there. Line width. There we go. And you can see, because we changed the line width from 120 to 140, some things that were looking weird before, like this, now can look a little bit more simple. Let's amend this to our commit. Okay, that's great, because that means the first thing we wanted to do, which is this, is now completed. Next, show the category pickers on start of a timer as a popover. So let's finish this timer here. So when I click start button here, I want this here to show as like a popover. That's basically what this next thing is saying, and let's try to get that done. So let me have a look at. I think we're in the timer. Oops. I think we're in the timer feature. The timer view. By the way, let me change the music a little bit. That's too electronic for me. Let's go for rock. I prefer rock. Okay. So what we want is, let me hide this preview here and let me show the project structure. What we want is, in this timer view, we just want to show that, show this category selector view basically only in specific cases. And one of the first case is when a start button is clicked. Then we can also see here, we want to basically provide an edit categories button, an edit summary button, things like that. And we want to show the summary entries at the end. So also this part, we don't want to show it all the time. Like this part and this part, we want to hide it away. So let's get this done. Let me first see if this part is already extracted in its own view. Yes, it is. So we already have them extracted in their own view. So it's easy to basically make these only show as popovers or something like that. And I'm just going to go to the store of this view, where we already have category selector state, which is an optional. We have reflection state, which is an optional. And I guess if we don't have them, or to put it differently, if we put them on nil value, they just don't show up. And I think that's fine, but the way they show up right now is they're just added to the view and with a divider in between. Instead, we want to make it like show up as a popover or sheet or something like that. What I don't like about popovers is they disappear automatically if you click outside of them. So instead of a popover, I'm actually going to go, like, let me see here, popover. So popover is something like this. And do they have, well, let me just create one here. So this is one of the cool things of this app. You can just click the play button, and it'll create a Swift playground from this code that you can just run and play around with, if it works. Okay, trust and open. So this is the playground. And if I run this, I should see something that I can interact with. Make this full screen. And it is building. So there we go, and if I click that, that's what it looks like on iOS. And on iOS it's different, but on macOS, can I change this to, there we go. This again. So if I click that now, this is what it looks like here, and okay, in this case it's actually a picker. What's the popover of that? Okay, anyways, if I click outside of it, it disappears automatically. And that's not really something that I want in this way. Instead, what I want is a stunt face appears. So let's try to catch that. By the way, I have changed the time of a Pomodoro timer here for this stream from 25 minutes to 50 minutes, because 25 minutes felt a little too often to me. Like I like 25 minutes of real focus and then 5-minute break, but to me, like 50 minutes and 10-minute break, that's like what I do in my private time now. It works better for me. I don't know, I need a longer break, and I don't want to like pluck out of some logic that I'm currently writing during those 25 minutes or after this 25 minutes. So I prefer 50 minutes, and I'm also doing that same for the stream now, except I'm not making a 10-minute break, because then you all would be basically bored. So I'm just putting that down to 4 minutes. It was 3 minutes before with 25, and now it's at 4 minutes. Just make it a little bit longer. I think that should be enough. And yeah, but back to here. So instead, what I want to use is I think a sheet like this, and yeah, let's just create it quickly so we can see what it looks like. So that's like the advantage of this app basically. And Stunfisk has been caught by me. Nice. I have a Stunfisk. For Stunfisk, I actually don't know what these Pokemon are. Let me quickly look up. So one is Mandibuzz. Ah, okay. And we have Stunfest. Because I am playing this in German, I don't know the English names. Except for, that's that. Except for like Bulbasaur and Pikachu. Those names are kind of the same. Or clear. So, let's go back to this preview, and this is what it looks like. Okay, we can't really see something. Let's make this a little larger. VStack, frame, width 500, height 500. I don't care about the alignment. We run this. Okay, it doesn't really affect anything. Anyways, we're going to see it anyways. So I want to use a sheet, and I need to put the sheet on some view. I'm just going to tack it on where I show it. So we will add buttons, right? So we will add edit categories and edit summary button. Let's just add them. And let's just tack everything to them. So I will just add them in place. So instead of this, I'm just going to add edit categories and edit summary. And here we have edit summary, and we have to give them an action. And I'm just going to add actions here in the store. So case edit summary button pressed, and edit categories button pressed. That's like what happened in the environment, and then we just connect everything. This is edit categories button pressed. This is edit summary button pressed. Now we can handle that in the state here. I'll just add it to the end. Edit summary button pressed and edit categories button pressed. And what we want to do here is, in the case of when this is pressed, obviously I want to show the summary, so I'm just going to go to reflection state and just going to initialize it with the current focus timer from the state. So we're basically creating a non-nil value here, because when the state is non-nil of the reflection state, we just want to show the sheet. That's the logic that we want to have. And same here with the categories selector state. So now we are setting them to non-nil values. When this button is pressed. Okay, so when this is pressed, we want to show basically a sheet. And that's what we can do with sheet here. So I will just go for sheet is presented. And you can see that the is presented is expecting a binding of type boolean. And we can get bindings in TCA via server binding. We're going to do that. And it has a content. So let's go for the content first. The content obviously is this, basically what we were showing before. Let's do the same here. Sheet is presented. The content is this if flat store. Okay, let's create the binding. So we go for view store.binding. Up. Okay, so we have the binding here, and the get is basically we're getting the state from the timer. So we have timer state, and we have to return the state of a category selector view, which is category selector state. So we have that in our. So I could just write something like this. This is our timer state, and we have there the this is the the categories selector state. So we could do it like that, or I think this should also work via a key path like this. Then for the send, we have to go from whatever we receive from inside here as an action to the action of the timer view, and that's basically in timer action dot. And I think we're missing that right now. Where are we? No, we do have them. So category selector action and reflection action. Let's just go category selector action. So that's how we bind the things together. And this should build. It doesn't. Because, yeah, of course. This is just about a Boolean. It's not about the whole thing. So, yeah, this is wrong. This is basically how you connect these two things together. You can see exactly that was doing something wrong. We just want to know if we should show it. And that is basically just checking for the categories selector state if that's not nil. If it's not nil, we want to show it. And likewise, when the system somehow with some interaction from the user says don't show this sheet anymore, we will receive a false value here. So we need a new action that handles that. Just going to say case set category selector is presented Boolean, and same here with set reflection is presented Boolean. So now we can say set category selector is presented here. So whenever the system tells us this is should not be shown anymore. Oh, hey Megan, how are you doing? Sorry, I just saw your message. How are things going for you? I saw your stream in the night. I just came by shortly because it was very quite late. But yeah, I saw it and said hello. How was your stream? Oh, it was great. I saw that you had like this co-working way of doing it, and I think your mic was even turned off. So that's something interesting. I didn't see that before. Just like watching you while you're working, so you don't feel alone. That's the idea, I guess, right? Okay, timer action set category selector is presented. So basically this is giving us a closure that accepts a Boolean, and because we can get from the system false here when a user says please hide the sheet, so we get false, and in that case we're handling that basically. Stream was pretty good. I was trying to do something new, and that was the complete idea with co-working. Yeah, cool. How did it go? How many users, viewers did you have compared to other streams you have? So was it successful? Was it as expected? Or could you stream only this way? Maybe that's why you did it. Maybe you were doing contract work and that's the only way how you could stream. So we are trying to handle this case, and we're going to do the same here as well. So let me just copy and paste this. I think it's going to look exactly the same, except for one change, and that's, of course, we're now calling category state, and but the reflection state, and set category selector is replaced by set reflection is presented. Store, of course. And last thing we need to do, we need to handle those as well here in the reducer. So when set reflection is presented is called, we're getting the Boolean here. We can basically decide what we do with it. I actually had more average viewers than normal coding stream at night. Then it was a success, and yeah, since it was contract work, this was the only way I could stream. I understand. So you don't have time or yeah, the possibility to stream right now, like the normal way where you can talk, or why did you, or like I don't see you streaming very often, so maybe you're currently struggling with that, and that's why you did it. Is it that? So yeah, we want to set the reflection state here depending on is presented. So if it is, if basically we expect it to be presented, we basically want to do what we did up here. We want to create a state. And if we want it to be hidden, we just set it to nil. And actually, I don't want to have repeated code. So instead of doing the same here and there, I'm just going to say here, return, and then I'm just going to the set, in this case, oops, I think this is the wrong one. I was going for, no, this is right. This is right. So I'm just going to say set reflection is presented and set this to true. Then I can get rid of this logic. So when this is pressed, I'm just redirecting it to the logic of set reflection set to true. I just have the logic in one place. And the same thing goes for set category selector is presented. State dot category selector state, and then if it is presented, just basically create this, and else we just assign nil. Then we can also replace that and just say return the redirection to set category selector is presented set to true. That's it. Yeah, my times have been really thrown off, so lately I've been only able to stream one night a week. The co-working stream last night was a test to see if I liked it, so I could stream more. And did you like it? Like, you saw already the average is higher, but did you like it yourself? Are you going to do it more in the future? So, sheet. I'd talk more during the contract work if I wasn't getting paid hourly. I see, yeah, makes total sense. I can understand that. I mean, they basically have proof how much you're working, so I can totally understand you doing that. I might actually, yeah, be able to just turn on, but like when I'm not working at that time, then yeah, co-working doesn't really help. And in the nights, I am actually awake quite late right now because due to the Ramadan, so we are in Ramadan right now. And I am fasting, and my wife is also coming home quite late, so we are awake quite long. And we're also awake at the time where we can last eat, which is like in the mornings, 5. And that's why I saw your stream, basically. Otherwise, I wouldn't be up that early. I did actually like it a lot. I liked not feeling alone while working. Cool. Like, that's cool. Then everything is great, I guess. The viewers are happy, you're happy. That's the point, win-win. Okay, so we have this, and it's building actually. And we have put it into the sheet, and we have connected all those things, so maybe this already works. Let's just try it out. Let's just run this. Oops, we have to go to the Mac app. See what it looks like. So, first thing we see is those views are hidden, so we can actually change the height here. And I think we have set a strict height on the Mac app. I think it's here. Just in the focus time, there you go, width 800. Let's just change this to 400 and 400. Rerun the app, it was too big for me. That makes sense. Yes, definitely. How's the timer app going? We're making progress, but only slowly. I mean, progress step by step. The thing is, I don't have any pressure here, and I'm just streaming once a week. And also, I have to really focus on my private app. It's also getting close to finish, so I'm actually expecting that by the end of this month, my app that I'm working on, like full-time, is going to be in a state that I can first release like a beta version or something like that. So you will be seeing what I was working on, and you might actually like that as well. So it's a developer tool. And that's going better than this because I just work a few hours on this every week, and that's just not that much. But we are making progress step by step. And there's a Optile. Let me catch that. Okay, let's see what happens if I click that. Nothing happens right now. So you see there is something is not working yet. Let's check that out. What's going wrong here? And this is the timer view. Let's first see what the initial value of these are. Are they set to any values? Let me check. Oh, you have Oshawott as your starter. Congratulations, that's a cool starter. Yeah, you love it. Nice. Category selector state. Ah, we're setting it to something on did appear. Let's actually not do that anymore. Put this into a model. Yeah, that's exactly what we did now. Allow hiding away reflection. Exactly what we're doing right now. So we actually don't need to do anything in did appear, so we can actually remove the did appear, I think. Let me actually remove it. Removing code is also something. That's always great to do. Always feels nice. And we should have a call to did appear somewhere here. There you go. Congrats on being close to a beta. Yeah, thank you very much. I've been working on it a lot, and it is an app that has a lot of non-UI code. So I also still not working. I also didn't see for a long time. I didn't see any UI. I didn't see a real progress. Now that I'm more to basically I've written in all the logic that I needed to do there, I actually have a UI now, and the first use case workflow now is complete. And I have like 2 or 3 more use cases to go, but I think I should be much quicker now. So yeah, we removed that there, but the question is when we click that, why is nothing happening? Let me just check if the reducer is even being called here. So when we click that, we expect to go into these 2 guys. Yes, we do get there. Then this really goes back to area selector in one of these. That's working as well. Let's check if it's presented. Actually, we can see it's presented, and we could also hover. This is true. And if this is true, we should go into that logic. So that should work. Then the question is, why is nothing showing up? Let me go back to the view. I guess it's a view problem then. So this whole thing is actually here. Okay, we have sheet here and the sheet there. We are seeing the buttons, so the sheet should work. And we're saying if this is not nil and if this is not nil, then it should be presented. And we have an A-flat store, and this should be non-nil here. This should actually work. And the divider, of course, that's not something we want to have. And also the buttons, I want to see them side by side, so I'll put them in an H stack. Like this. Up. Go. Presented, sheet. I really don't understand why this isn't. Is there an issue with multiple sheets? Let me just turn this off and only keep the edit categories sheet. And let's add some padding here in a second. But nothing is happening. That's really weird. I like to add like a padding around this. It's not related to having multiple sheets. Why is this not working? Presented. If I put it as a popover, does it work then? And we have the same API here. Basically, it's presented in content, so we can just replace this with popover. Still nothing happening. Okay, let me see if this is actually even getting called. This is a flat store. Going to this and that. Does this even get called? I wouldn't have needed to rerun this, but no. So we're not running it in here. That's interesting. We're binding this to me when this is not nil. We want it to present. Is it getting immediately hidden for some reason? Go into the reducer and see when these are getting called. But first, when we click that, it's getting called with it's presented set to true. Continue. And they're not getting called again with a false value. I really don't know why this is not showing. I would expect it to show. That is interesting. Let me see what happens if I just pass a constant binding of true. Then it should show all the time, right? Tool has no member true. Sheet not working. Any ideas why the sheet isn't working? So that's something we can already write down. Is sheet is presented content not working. That's a blocker. Not showing anything. Weird. Okay, let me place this sheet elsewhere. I'm just going to copy this and hide it here and just put it at like the top view. See if that helps. Maybe it doesn't work because it's somewhere inside in the hierarchy. Nope, that's not the reason. Maybe it doesn't work along with an alert. Nope, not the reason. Wish it even work at all. Like, why is this not working? So weird. If I just put it like this, just showing the view itself, does it work then when I click that? Yes, so if I click that, it does actually set to non-nil values, and although nothing is selected in here, it does basically set it to some value. So the setting of a boolean does work, but for some reason okay, this all looks correct to me. I think this is a bug. I will just run this on the iOS app and see what happens. It's an issue with macOS and SwiftUI. And there are issues with SwiftUI and macOS. But it's totally possible. This is just a bug. What's going on with this now? Let's make it full screen. Okay, edit categories. Seriously, nothing happening. Is there anything with sheet that I have to take care of? So just go to sheet. It should work on any view. And they are also adding it on a button, so exactly the same as we're doing. I don't see why it shouldn't work for me here. This is weird. Let me see if I can just put a warning here. Actually, but we have to fix it now. Otherwise, we can't really use the app quite a bit. So maybe we want to put a divider here, or maybe not. Let's use button style. Ordered. Does any sheet work really? Like if I just say like make a sheet and is presented is just set to true, and just show some text test on this. Yes, so sheets do work. It does show up, but they don't show up when clicking that button. That's really weird. Can I like put the binding here? Oh, we're on a break. And the break is 5 minutes, not 4, so I'll be back in a few minutes. See you there. Stay tuned. Okay, let's continue. So we are fighting with this sheet thing here. And I'm just going to play around until we get like at which step it is exactly is failing. So this is the constant we're passing. I'm now going to pass the binding to see if the issue is the binding. Let's uncomment. Let's run. Yeah, I think the binding is where it fails. So we are seeing category selector state is not new. Is this actually happening? What if I just pass constant here? I just return true. Oh. This way. Okay, this does work. So the binding itself does work. I guess the category selector state is not working, or changing this from being false to being true later. Maybe that's what fails. So how can we make that happen? I could just say their value that's changing, or let's just see when we run into this here. I think we can create a breakpoint. I think we can create a column breakpoint. So code column breakpoint. How was that name? Got the name. Yeah, column breakpoint. You can create a breakpoint like this, and I want to create one set column breakpoints. Yeah, let's do that. So I want to see what happens right in here. Run this. I want to see if that value is what that value is at that moment. Click that, and it's not even being called. The get is not being called. We're never entering this place here, so that's the issue. But when it was constant, when it was returning just true, it did work. That's very weird. Let's update the dependencies. Maybe we have an old version of composable architecture with a bug in it. Never know. Is it still updating? I think it has updated now. Nope. Changes. I'll be running in here when we're just returning true. Let's just add like a column breakpoint here. How can I? Is there a shortcut for that? Read breakpoint at current line. Symbolic. Not really. Okay, let's just put it into its own line. So, what's the shortcut? Maybe I should use that more. Oh, backslash. Okay. Come on, backslash. Nice. If that's getting called. Yeah, it is getting called on start. Again, hide it. It's getting called. I click a button. Not getting called. Interesting. But it is getting called. in that case. But if I change, okay, let's go back. If I change the implementation to go with, this is our timer state. Make it very explicit, and we're just saying timer state dot. In this case, it's category selector state is not nil. And let's add a breakpoint here too. It is getting called, and in that situation, let's actually print the timer state dot category selector state. Okay, print doesn't work. And call twice. When I click that, it's not getting called again. So it's just not getting called again. It doesn't see that the value has actually changed. Why that? That never happened to me before. Let's go for a composable picture. Maybe we can find something. So let me search basically binding get not called. Binding get not called. Issues. Discussions. Could it be that there is a reducer connection issue? No, there isn't, so they are all connected, and this looks correct to me. No, that is not a problem. You have the view store. You have the store. But it's never calling this again. Why not? It's a binding that depends on state. Whenever state changes, do we have like a store that is weirdly equatable? Did we write equatable ourselves? Nope. Oh, we did. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so that's why it wasn't working. Why did we add this actually? Show time is up alert, timer is running. Let me comment this out. So the problem was that SwiftUI basically compared this timer state that it had before to the timer state after we made changes in the reducer, and it thought it's the same, so I thought it hasn't changed. And because it thought it hasn't changed, it actually had the problem of not updating the view. And that's basically our problem. I guess that focus timer was not equatable, and that's why this whole thing couldn't be equatable. Let's try to build, and this should not build. It doesn't build, but that's not failing here, so I think we can actually remove this. Let's go here. And now everything that we had before should work. I'm pretty confident because we basically found the root cause for that. So a learning definitely is when using TCA, never make a state conform to equatable manually. Adding new state. Think about that. So that's basically, I think, the learning here, and I am confident that this will work as soon as we get it building. But we have some build issues. And it's right here saying requires a timer state conform to equatable. Oh, okay, so make it conform. That's why I expected failing it. Let's make it like that, and then now it will fail. Oh, it doesn't, so focus timer can be made equatable. That's nice, let's run it now. There we go, this was what we were expecting from the start. So we are able now to open this, and you can see a set carrier selector is presented as set to true. And if I just swipe it down, I get the call to the same with is presented false. That's basically what this is doing here. And we could also actively add like a done button here. Same here. And does the editing work? Yes, it does. Nice. Does it save automatically? Yes, it seems to. Continues, time is up. So we have basically these buttons now. And I can't change the project, I don't know why. Well, let's fix that on the Mac app first. So I'm going to go return to the Mac app. Let me just quit the simulator. Should now also work on the Mac app. That was a weird bug, but we found the issue and we solved it. Okay, this is what this looks like, and now we have something actually showing up, and we can change it. We can't click press OK anymore. If we click outside, it does not disappear. I'm not sure if there is like a shortcut to make it disappear, so we need to add a button. And let's actually do that right now. So we need in the category selector view a button. Close this. I really wish that the previews work. That's so helpful if it does work. Guess it's not working before. Oh, it does. Okay, so there we go. We have a list here. Let's close that. We want to add basically below that list a button, but we want it to be on the right, so let's actually create an H stack with a spacer first. Put the button in there. The button will read something like close, just close. And I guess this whole thing needs padding. Let's go to the macOS preview. Oh, they are created as two separate views because we have to put everything into a VStack. And when this button is clicked, we want to send an action store, and the action is just close button clicked. Pressed. So view store, send, close button pressed, and when a close button pressed is sent in the reducer, we want to handle it. And in the case here, we could go through the SwiftUI environment and set it inside the view, but I prefer to basically do it all in TCA. So basically, I'm not doing anything here. Instead, I'm just documenting handled by the parent reducer. Now, go back to where we presented. Oops. Dimitri Maximov Galara, thank you very much for following. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? How's your day going? Let me also catch the Pokemon like Megan did. Oh, I don't own a ball. I have to buy something quickly. Just go here. I'm not signed in here. That's too bad. You do it quickly. Oops. Let me actually show it. So you can just go here, and this is a panel where you can basically handle all these things. Let me close it down. You can handle the Pokemon. Now let me actually put this out. Okay. Oh yeah, cool. Maybe I can keep this out here. And here I can see all my Pokemon. I'm going to just buy the shop and buy Pokeball here. not enough money. That was too much. How much can I buy? And I think it should be fine. There we go. So. No, Joltik escaped. Ah, I was too late. Anyways. Where we were at. So yeah, the parent reducer. And I like to do that in the timer reducer. And here, as you can see, we have the reflection and category selector, and we basically documented that these are handled by the child reducers and they are connected here. So we are basically reducing them down from the time reducer, but we can also handle things here, and the navigation actually is handled on top here. So I'm just going to catch the case in the category selector where the close button is pressed, and when the close button is pressed, I am going to just say okay. In this case, I just go to our already existing set category selector, and I just set is presented to false. You see, now when I call this, it gets into this state here, and then because it's presented as false, it will just nil it out and it will automatically disappear. So I'm handling the logic on the top level here, and it's basically hiding it, because the logic of showing or hiding something, it should not be on the category selector itself. Instead, it should be on the level where it is presented from. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm saying here, this is handled by the parent handles it. So now, if I run this Mac app, if it builds, so it looks like. Now if I run it and I click this, and there is now a close button, there is no other view. Okay, I have to fix that, but actually when I click that, it does hide. And now let's fix the empty view there. So category selector, select a view, something is wrong in here. We have a V stack, a list, an H stack. What's wrong with this list? What's wrong? It should actually show these views. Even the preview. Okay, the preview does work now. It has some reordered things. We have this for each. We have the category groups. It says pickers don't update the selection value right away. Extra reaction needed. I think that's what on app start. Then for some wrapping could lead to crash with an empty group without categories. Yeah, it's here. We'll handle that later. But why does it... That's weird. Why does it not show the part here, which is in the list? Do we have to like specify height? Should do that? Frame min width 300, min height 100. Let's see what that looks like. Maybe it just doesn't have the space because this list maybe doesn't fill automatically. Yeah, it looks like that. So we don't actually need that much space. We could make it wider for the case that there are more things here. Or we just leave it at the full width of the top screen. Definitely not that high. Although we don't know how large the list is going to get. So why does it not? But that's just a min height. So min height, min width. I think the width was fine. At least for macOS. Oh, no, the height isn't fine. So the list, for some reason, it doesn't really have a internal height to make this also. I mean, I just set a min height. How can I make this list have a size for itself? SwiftUI list, no height. I don't want to get it, I just want to have some. Make a view, fill, let's continue. Yeah, I could set it to infinity. The problem with that, let me just try that out. I think this is going to be an issue. Height, I'll set it to infinity. Problem with that is going to be that now it's going to fill even more space than needed. Oh, it's not even filling any space. Okay, I'm going to do a trick here, so I'm just going to say I want to give this thing a min height of, I don't know, let's say 30 times, and the times is going to refer to the view stores how many groups we have. So we have category groups. I'm just going to go to the count there. Let's see if that works. No, it doesn't, because this is an int and I need a CG flow, so let me turn this into a double. And we'll have to scroll. Maybe 30 isn't enough, or maybe it is enough, but let's make it 40. And let's remove that actually. I think the height is going to come from here. Yeah, the height is coming from there. It's not enough first, but secondly, the width is now really weird. So let's maybe reintroduce a width. And let's make this 50. Okay, this space is too much. 42. 44 is a magic iOS number. 42 seems to work as well. So we're going to play around with that more. Let me actually write a warning. So make the list have a proper height for all cases, all groups. So for now, this is good enough to work with, and let's continue. So we have now in our app a way to show this in a dialog. I want to do the same for the summary, and we can see it already shows something, but there is no close button. So let's add a close button. Let me just copy and paste things from here. So we have this, and we want it in the reflection. Oops. Reflection view. We have a form right now. Just going to create a VStack. Or actually, within the form, I can also add a button there. So let me do it here. And let me go to reflection feature to see the preview. That looks like, if it looks like expected, or if it looks any different. Button press, it doesn't exist yet. Let me just copy that to the store. Likewise, in the reducer, we have to also handle it. Is this? Okay, it's extracted code. Case was button pressed, break, handle 5 reducer, and then time review, timer reducer. I'm going to do the same thing like with this one here, but this time it's going to be the action selector. Selection, close button pressed, and we call action is presented to false. See the preview now. We have a close button now. It's not at the top full right, so let me remove the padding in this case. Because we have a form, it already does the alignment for us. And this looks fine to me. Of course, on iOS we need to provide a difference, so let's write a warning here, provide different style on iOS. This is just Mac optimized. add that on the category view as well. I want to run the app now. Let's just see what it is. Yeah, but failed. Contextual base and reference frame. Doesn't the list have a frame? Maybe I could just have a frame here. Oh no, not at for each, I mean at the picker. Frame min height 40. Maybe I just don't need that. Works. Nope, doesn't work. But this works, so we now have these fields and we have the close button. Let's revert that. So this was working before, why did it doesn't work anymore? Maybe because of this comment? Yeah, okay. I can change the programming into app review, close, and it still has the same values. Likewise, I can add something here, close, and it has the same values. So we have hidden them behind those buttons now, and that's progress. I think that's something worth committing. Let's quickly have a look at the changes here. That's fine. This is correct. These indentation will be corrected by Swift format in a second. But otherwise, this is looking good. Yeah, this is all right. So, hide reflection, summary, and categories selector behind buttons. So, as I said, it's going to indent those warnings. And this is worth committing and uploading even. And I'm going to also add this to the summary. Or we just copy, add these here. Just move this up to the completed section. Show summary entries on end of, so basically what we want to do next is show the category pickers, which we have now, on start of the timer as a popover. As a modal, I would say, is a more general word. And we also want to show the summary entry on the end of the timer. So that should be easy now. Let's just go. That's the cool thing about the composable architecture. The logic is in a clear place, and that's our timer reducer. And basically what we want to do is when the timer is starting, and where is the timer starting? Start or continue button pressed. And I'm saying basically play. And how do we know when the timer is actually being started? I think there is no timer as started, so basically start button is pressed, and if let's go to the store and see how we can detect when a timer is being started. So focus timer, timer is running, time left, show time up. Go to the focus timer. We have ended, paused, with the focus timer extension. We have running duration, current progress probably. So if current progress is 0, that's when a timer is just starting. And a more pico appeared. Let me catch it. Basically when the current progress is 0, I think that's when the timer hasn't started yet. We could add something explicitly here, something like timer hasn't started or something like that. Completed new timer, like just saying this is a new timer, a fresh timer. Is new timer, yeah, why not? Or pico has been caught, nice. Let's just add is new or has not started. Has not started. Has not started. It's a boolean, and basically it returns self.current progress equals 0. Or to make it more correct, I could also just say if the running duration and time around duration, if they are the same. Like this is a time interval, the running duration is also a time interval. And that's what I could do. Self.running duration equals self.timer duration. And it seems like I'm actually storing them as seconds and it's an int. I think that's even more correct. So running duration in seconds equals, because int comparison is more reliable than floating point comparison. That's why I'm going to do it like that. It has not started. Now we have a very explicit API in our model, so we can just say state dot current focus timer dot has not started. If that's the case, then it means we are basically in a situation where we are just starting out the timer session. So in this case, this is the case. We're going to basically do something else on top of this here. So this we need to put at the end. And we just do this in the else case. And we do the same, but combined with another effect. So we just say effect dot not cancel, concatenate. Do we want to call them after each other or at the same time? Merge together into a single effect, which runs the effects at the same time. Yes. So now we have this effect. And the second effect is just going to be, we're just going to call now set category selector presented to true. That should be all. Let me run this. Now let's continue. Okay, timer's up. We get this nice thing. And then now when I click start, I should actually see this, but I am not. Why not? Doesn't it run into this here? Okay, let me try again. Start. No, it does not. So I'm not running into this because has not started is not true. Why is that? Let me go into that. Run the app again. Let's see what happens when I click start. So default timer runout duration and timer runout duration. Running duration in second. Okay, of course. Running duration in second. If that's 0, that's all I want to check. But the check was wrong. Back. I'll remove this breakpoint too. So now, when we start it, you can see it works as expected. The problem is we're getting this and then the timer runs out, and if I close this, I get, okay, it's not that bad actually. So if I put that, I can just select like programming, code review, close. And then it ends. I mean, we're not going to have 5 seconds timers later, but this is exactly what we wanted. So this is now implemented. Let me just move this up as well. Next, we want to show the summary entries on end of a timer model. So we want to show this when the timer ends. Let's do that. And I think we already have logic for when the timer ends because we're already showing that modal when it ends. Like, let me just do something like that. And we already have a place where we show this, right? So in the same space, we could just add this logic. Let's see where that is. We have the reducer here. And you see we're trying to get like quite large code here. So this is not that large yet. It's still way below 100 lines. But this is adding up, and I can already have problems with finding the exact case I'm looking for. And I don't have any jump bar here, so I could find like this specific case. And I have actually reported this as an issue on the composable architecture here online. I ran into the same thing. We are already here. I ran into the same thing in my private project as well. And I have actually provided a workaround here. So basically I'm asking the question, hey, how can I navigate quickly? And then I also got an answer. I could use 5 private functions, but I personally don't prefer that. So instead we could just use this method. So I have a reducer, I have these actions, and I have a lot of code, and it's hard to find these places. Instead of handling them right in here, I'm just going to create a struct, which I call my action handler. I'm just going to call the action handler from here. So this is easy code. And then here I have the actual functions, and Xcode will provide for functions. It will provide the jump bar, which will help a lot. So that's basically my workaround. I think it makes sense to apply that in this project as well. So let me copy the link to the solution and just add it as a to-do here in this project. Extract. Maybe we do it only with the cases that are longer than like 1 line or something like that. Extract, or maybe we do it for all, I don't know. Extract longer case handlers into struct here, like described here. So that's documented, so we can do that later. We don't forget it because of the warning. And let's find a place where we are presenting that modal. I believe that modal has a state. Somewhere here. Action timer here. Show time is up alert. Well, let's see when we are changing that. We're changing it when set time is up alert is presented, is called, and I guess we have to look up that now. Set time is up alert. So we're calling it with true in the timer ticked if the current focus timer is completed. And that's the logic we could change here. So we could get rid of this show time is up alert entirely. Or we just combine what we have as a summary with this title. So which approach we want to go? Let's go into the view. We have the show time is up alert. So it is basically an alert with the title. It's nothing more than that. We could replace this with we could combine it maybe with the edit summary, like time is up, edit your summary, something like that. That means we need to have a title in this screen, but it should only show up when the timer is up, right? Or we add a button here like OK, and the other button is provide summary or summarize or edit summary. Yeah, let's do it like that. So we're adding another button here. So we have currently this alert. We have one dismiss button. Can we add more buttons? So let's have a look at alert. And I'm just going to look it up in documentation here. Oops, how did I do that? Why did it get white now? What just happened? Can I change the mode? Switch to dark color mode. Okay. Interesting. I wanted to just look up alert. So we can say here alert, and we have the actions. So we can provide multiple actions. I am using a dismiss action one though. Let me just use code completion, alert in it, and then we are using one with dismiss button. We also have one with primary and secondary button. I don't see one with actions. Alert. Ah, this is directly using alert, and instead we're using, oh, we're also using alert. But we're providing like, okay, let me try this. Alert, there we go. It's presented, error, and actions. Actions is an escape enclosure expecting really documented in detail. Can get no documentation. You build a closure that returns a list of buttons to display any alert. Could look something like button. Okay, I see. So we can just provide buttons there. Title message. Which alert over? Which alert one do we call here? So we have a message presenting actions. What is that? Presenting variance. So presenting data. A value of any type. This value will be passed to the actions closure as an argument. Okay, so I can show some text or something. Maybe we just want to show a sheet here. No, we keep the alert. So we're trying to make as small changes as possible. I will just see here. I can say alert here. This has primary and secondary button overload. Let's go with that. So we keep the title. I think we could use the message as well. Do we have an overload for that? Yes, we have. So let's keep the message here. I'm just going to move these up. The dismiss button is going to be our, I guess, the secondary button. We could play around with that. And let's say alert dot button dot, and then we have cancel, default, destructive. Go with default. Let's just provide a text here, and it's going to be, for now, it's just going to be edit summary. Let's just keep the same name here. But we don't have a logic here attached to it, so that's going to be a problem. So we need one with an action. There we go. And it's just a trade enclosure, so we can do it like that, and then we just go for restore.send. Well, let me first catch the auxiliary here. Use store.send, and we need the action for that. And actually, now we could do two things here. We could just say here send dot set. Don't we have one here? Set category selector, set reflection. Yeah, set category selector is presented to true. So that's what we could call. That would mean that we now have logic in our view, because our view is now telling our app what to do. It's telling, okay, now please show the category selector. Instead, the view should just say what happened. Like what happened is the user clicked edit summary. And I believe we also have that, right? Yeah, edit summary button press. So maybe we could just call that. That should be good enough. Although this is a different one, let's first see if we can reuse it. Edit summary button pressed. Okay, this looks cool to me. This could already work, but it doesn't. As string to be expanded. Ah, okay. I need to provide a text. Text view. Now, when this passes, there you go. We have an OK button and an edit summary button. I see edit summary is highlighted because it's the primary one. Okay, maybe we should change them. Feels like this should be secondary and this should be the highlighted one. Try. Okay, when I click OK, this disappears and everything goes back to normal. But what's going to happen when I click Edit Summary? Let's have a look at that. Edit Summary, and I get what I wanted, like this. But there is okay. This also other thing also disappears, so it seems like it automatically disappears. But and also I want to know if set time alert is presented. It's called with false. Set time alert. Presented true, is presented false. Timer reset requested. I think it's not getting called. So additionally to this, I want to also say view store send. Set time is presented false. Basically like the close button is clicked. Maybe I want to animate these, so I want to be like animate animation default. Let's see what happens now. Summary. Nothing really happened with the animations, so I can get rid of them. But anyways, this is okay-ish. The problem I'm expecting here is now that I'm saying edit summary button pressed, and after the timer is up, I think the issue is that we already have a new timer created. So let's check the logic there. So when I say this press set reflection is first, before we even do that, we're calling set times up alert. So we're calling this and setting this to false. And if it's false, so it is not presented, which is when it's false, then we're calling timer reset requested. And timer reset requested is here, state or reset environment, and that's basically what we don't want. We don't want this to be, so maybe we just need to skip this. Instead we say edit summary button pressed, and instead of edit summary button pressed, I actually want to have an extra one, because this is going to have different logic, and this is going to be edit timer is up alert, edit summary button pressed, because we'll have different logic there. Timer is up alert, edit button pressed. And we usually just do this, but on the new one, I will just add it here. We're not just going to do this, but we're also going to say, hey, please delay the creation of a new timer. How are we going to do that? So the creation of a new timer happens, I guess, in the reset. Timer reset requested, right? Focus timer, yeah, a new one is created for sure. Yes, this is where a new one is created. And we don't want to have that yet. So let me actually see if it's being called already when I just go this way. Where I say this one is called and set reflection is presented. It's set to false. Set reflection, why set reflection? I set to true, of course. If it's set to true, and we show that, let's just see what happens if we get ever a timer reset requested. Go with Bill is failing. So if I click, okay, we'll continue right after the break. So 5 minutes break and I'll be back. Yeah, please stay tuned. Monsieur B, welcome to the stream. Subscribed for 3 months in a row, 3rd month already. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Weekend time, yes, for sure. Break the break, exactly. So yeah, I have to break the break for this. So welcome to the stream. I will continue with the break, but yeah, feel free to write in the chat. Feel free to play Pokemon if you haven't already. Just write Poke Start. Exclamation mark Poke Start, and then you could play get your first Pokemon. And see you in 4 minutes, though. I hope you're going to be around. Thank you. Okay, I'm back, and I see Jeremy, you're trying to play the Pokemon game. Ah, okay, I see you actually have played it, or do you have like Pokemon? So what you can do is you can just open. Let me just show you my screen here. You can just go on my Twitch about page. Just go like here, and then you should find this banner. And I just opened this banner by clicking here. And here you can see like what your current Pokemon is, what your current state is with a proper UI. And you can also like buy Pokeballs and all of these things. So I recommend. And you can even fight in here. So for everyone who is really a big fan of Pokemon and just wants to get distracted from my stream, they can just go here. They can just like fight another player and things like that. So it's like a fun thing just to do on the side. So that's that. Well, let's get back to this. So I wanted to know, I know that when I click OK, that's going to call the timer reset that is requested. But we also want to know if that happens also when we click the edit summary. So let's check that. Yes, when we click edit summary, it's also resetting. The question is, where is it calling this from? So I have this on set time is up alert is presented when it's being shown dismissed. So is it where it comes from? It has to be, because there's no other place. But let's just make sure that it is actually being called from there. Edit summary. Yes, this is being called. Somebody's calling the time is up alert and setting it to false. It's not being happening from within this reducer because there's no other place. So it's happening from the view. It looks like when this here gets, when this button gets clicked, it automatically calls the set time is up alert with its presented set to false. So it's trying to hide the alert. And that means that we have to deal with that somehow. Yeah, Jeremy and Megan are both on the stream. Welcome. How are you both doing, guys? How are you doing, Jeremy? You've not been streaming lately, right? Why not? Also busy, like Megan is right now? Okay, so I have to deal with it here somehow. When this is false, that I not always reset the request. Instead, I somehow have to know that button was clicked. No, I have on my early morning usual schedule. That's why I don't see it. Early morning usual schedule? What is your usual schedule? Do you stream once a week? What was that? Or do you stream every day? I don't get the notifications anymore. I don't know why. Or maybe I'm just ignoring them. Or maybe I just sleep. Because currently I'm going to sleep like at 6 in the morning, and I'm sleeping like till 1 a.m. 1 p.m. Yeah, because of Ramadan, I'm awake in the night and I'm sleeping in the morning. So that's probably why I miss it, because I have my sleep turned on, sleep mode turned on my iPhone. Pokecatch only works if there's a Pokemon. There's one. Mobile. Let me catch it as well. By the way, shout out to Novar. Let's see if she's still online. Oh no, that's not what I'm looking for. Why can't I find her? Okay, let me look up the name just a sec. Yes, she's still online, Novas. So shout out to Novas1R1. I have to learn that name. Yeah, she's a Flutter developer and currently also co-working. I'll probably be raiding in case she's still online. And she basically informed me about that Pokemon game. So check out Novas1R1. Her name is Very. And she's a nice person, so definitely check it out. Yeah, you caught the Pokemon. Nice. I think I missed it, or it doesn't tell me yet. Okay, so what I want to basically do is I want to inform my state that it should actually not reset, so somehow the reset logic has to be different. I have, in this case, I want to reset right away. In this case, I want it to update first and then reset. So maybe I should give this also an explicit action in the store. So I say something like timer is up, alert, dismiss, button pressed. And I just sent this to the view store then. Timer is up, alert, dismiss, button pressed. Let's like this here. So when this is pressed, then I can explicitly do things instead of doing it always inside of here. So this logic I could just move away from here. Instead, I just change that value, and when I get this here, timer is up, dismiss button pressed, then I can say, okay, in this case, please reset the timer. But in that case, timer is up, alert, edit, summary button pressed. I'm not resetting it right away. Instead, I first show the reflection, and once the reflection is hidden, I could basically reset the timer. And that means I have to tell the reflection state that it has to refresh the timer when finished. I should probably have in the reflection feature, in the reflection store, I should have a flag that tells me that I actually have to, this is like at the end, so this is like timer is up, boolean, something like that, and I have to pass it here. Or maybe I actually don't need it because I have the focus timer reference here and I can just read from the focus timer if it is completed, right? So maybe I just don't need that. And basically what I want to do is in my timer reducer, somehow when the reflection screen is being closed, I want the timer is requested to be called. And that's only going to be possible if my reflection store has a new action. It has close button pressed, but maybe it should have something like, or maybe not. Maybe I can do a logic here. So when close button is pressed, which I'm already checking here, right? I could just check if the timer has passed in the meantime, and if yes, I just say call the reset. So if state current focus timer completed when the close button is pressed. And this is in the else case. In this case, I'm going to do two things at once. I'm going to merge the effect calling into reset, timer reset requested, and this. Should have the logic now. Let's test it out. So we have a started timer, and when it ends, and I click edit summary, it shows me this ABC. I click close and then it resets. Exactly what we wanted, and that means that it should store it also in the existing timer. So this is exactly what I want, and I think this is working fine. There's one caveat, and that's if I just do this, close and break, or I just leave it and I just click edit summary on purpose. Now what's going to happen when the timer ends? I don't see anything happening just now, so it has ended already. And I'm going to do something here, close, and then I still see this alert, and that's like weird. So when the timer is up and I still have the reflection screen open, I should not show the alert. Oh, I was just talking about thank you very much, Noahs101. Thank you very much for rating, and welcome everybody. Welcome to my stream. Thank you for following ANZ4. Yeah, I was actually just showing you a stream because I was talking about a Pokemon game, and when I talk about the Pokemon, you can see like I'm playing the Pokemon game here on the side. And when I was talking about this and explaining it to some of my viewers, I actually mentioned you because you just showed me this game and you're also using that yourself. So you can also play the Pokemon game here. Yeah, that's exactly. Just like 10 minutes ago or something. You can just look it up later. Thank you for following Wichan's Vector. How are you all doing? How was your stream? Was it chill? You had like a co-working stream, right? So how was it? How did it go? So everybody feel free to play Pokemon and stay in my stream. I'm doing a stream so to explain basically what I'm doing here. I'm an iOS developer. I'm a native developer, so I'm developing in Swift, not in Flutter. And I am working on this project called Open Focus Timer, and it's an open source project. And basically what I want to do with this project, you can see on the screen, I have like this timer on my screen somewhere like here, around here. And I want to create my own app for that because I want to have basically more features and some more specific features. I want to have like a reflection screen where I can summarize and like the current state already, you can see there is like this reflection screen. This is going to be an iOS and macOS app written in SwiftUI. And I just want to basically summarize whenever I ended a session, what I've done there, what my learnings are. Currently I'm using Notion for that. So you can see my session summaries. And this one from today, this is what we've done so far. So we have fixed one issue and implemented two small features. We ran across this problem here and we had this learning here. And these are the things that we're still currently doing. And this is the kind of app I'm developing here. And I want to make it customizable as well. Oh my God, I really finished something. You finished something? So is your app finished now? Like you were working on this app, right? And you wanted me to review it also? Should I review it now? Like not right now, I mean next week. Phew, I wish I would be that structured. I don't know. People tell me sometimes I'm structured. Probably I am kind of structured, but I always feel like I could be better there. App will never be finished, never. I mean finished, what is finished? What's the definition of finished? The question is when you will release it? Is it like release ready? Poke Catch, yeah. Oops, the Pokemon escape. So quickly on the topic of finishing, so if you check out my, I don't know if I talked about this last time, but this is my Medium, jihad.medium.com. If you just scroll down, you'll find there is this laser focus priority strategy, and it basically has like an idea how you could actually finish things. So yeah, it has these different sections, and just read through it. And basically what I'm trying to say here is you should split your tasks first, and then you have something like this where you put every task. So you say first you basically have a feature that every task is related to. You have a feature idea. For example, I want to develop here in my focus timer, I want to develop the feature here, the timer. And then for this feature, maybe I have small tasks. For example, implement this button, that button, implement this label, make a design, things like that. So I have a feature, and maybe I have 5 features in my mind, like I have here. So one feature is Pomodoro time, another is categories, another feature is reflection. And then I have, for each feature, I have tasks. And then what you basically do is you first say, okay, is my feature vital, essential, completing, or optional? And I have defined them above here, so how you rate them to help you there. And then for each feature in their task, you do the same. And then you can basically draw your task in this kind of thing, and you start with the vital ones first. And once they are completed, you can actually go in the first alpha phase. Then you go for the essential ones here. You complete these 3. And once they are complete, you can go into beta phase, or even release it if you really want to release early in like a beta stage. And then you have like a lot of completing tasks that like help you round up the corners. And once you've done that, basically that's the definition of your first version is done. So maybe this is going to help. It's released. Nice. Can you post a link? Lazy people here. Yeah, please post. You mean the link to this? Of course. Well, let me just post you the link to my Medium, and you'll find it. There's also more interesting article there. I think I have it actually here as a command. There you go. You're welcome. So, Mary, if your app is released, when do we do the app review? You want me to do one? I haven't been requested an app review for some time. I made 9 app reviews, and the 10th is not requested still yet. I'm so afraid because I have so many things open. That's fine, that's fine. I mean, this is all about helping you to know which areas you still can improve. It's not about rating your app or something. I know there is this sheet that I'm going to share on Twitter or something, but nobody really cares about that, to be honest. So I don't think that this is really important. It's just more about highlighting the... so let me show you the sheet as well. So if you go on my Twitter and just scroll down a bit, or you just go to media. Oh, I can't. Okay, you just scroll down a bit. Quite a bit, because the last time I did this is already some time ago. And here you go. So it looks something like this. And the goal here of this is more to highlight which section you should start working on first. For example, here you can see, okay, customization is already great, nothing to do there. Here, nothing to do. Actually, this app had a really good rating, so there was nothing that just had 1 star. But if something just had 1 star, you know, okay, this is the part I should probably start with. So next week, you say, yeah, next week, Friday, I would be available again. I'm streaming every Friday, so I could do it and schedule to next Friday. And don't feel the pressure, no pressure here. You can just write me whenever you have the time. But I'd love to do that. You can also do it in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, doesn't matter. Shit, no, I have the accessibility meeting next week. I wanted to wait for that. Now I remember. Yeah, don't worry about accessibility. If you're like for the app review, then I could actually at least show you like which parts are missing, and then you know what to exactly do in accessibility. But yeah, just tell me whenever you feel makes sense. Okay, so going back to my app here, just let's quickly catch the Voltorb here. And I'm still learning English Pokemon names, so Voltorb, I'm expecting Voltorb. Yeah. Okay, let's get back to the app here. So where was I at? Yeah. We have this state we just developed that when the timer ends, that we can basically write our summary, because we can just click the edit summary and this works. But when we are in the middle of one and we click edit summary and then we wait until the timer has finished, and I guess the timer has finished by now, and we close this, we get this timer is up and we can click edit summary again. instead of this, we could basically implement logic that makes sure that we just don't show this when the timer is up. But at the same time, I think users want to know that the timer is up when they were just editing, right? So maybe this isn't that bad after all. We just keep it. I think we can keep it. We should probably focus more on the UI, which is still looking ugly. So let's just commit what we did so far. So we have added this logic here and this logic here too. Added these two button press actions. Made these, connected these together. So this is, let's go back to our session summary. Megan going to lurk, for sure. Meeting time, gonna mute, be back in like 15 minutes. Yeah, sure. So everybody who was here in the stream, also Jeremy was here. So make sure to check out Very, and Very also, I have two other streamers that are viewers today, and everybody else who was watching Very stream before. I have basically two streamers. One is Megan Wilson, you can see them, they just wrote in the chat. And I also have Monsieur B, so make sure to follow them. They are also streaming iOS development or Swift development here on Twitch. Okay, let me actually share the links. So we have Megan. Sure. Am I mistyping something? Ah, underscore missing. There you go, this is Megan Wilson. Let me just add them to the chat directly. Oh, for some reason this doesn't work. Monsieur B is going to work, right? There we go. Designing code. Oh my god, I wish I would be talented in both. Yeah, Jeremy is basically a designer who is also coding, so more a designer as far as I know. But feel free to correct me, Jeremy, in the chat. So if you have design questions, you can ping Jeremy. So let's commit this, and basically this makes add a edit summary button to time is up alert. Basically that's what we're doing here. Push this and document it here. Show summary as an end of a timer as a modal. This is basically what we're doing, so maybe we don't need to put it like that. Design is always giving me headaches. I think it's a different thing, right? So designing is more like the visual part of an app, and the development is like just the code part, and they're like two opposite sides of one thing. And it's important to be aware of both, but I understand if you're really good at development, you don't really have that knowledge in the other area, and most designers also don't have the knowledge in coding. So it's like, I think it's really special if you can do both. At least you should learn a little bit of both. It just makes you make better decisions. Nice to meet you, Monsieur B. Right. Okay, here I'm going to continue with the next feature. We have actually done quite a bit today. And I am in my last session, so we have 27 minutes left. Add feature to create new categories. That's something we could do. So currently we're hard coding the categories. So what are the categories? Let me just show you quickly. So we have, when we create categories, we have two category groups right now. And I called mine task type and project, but others who are going to use the app can create their own. We don't have that UI yet, but we're going to work on that. And for each category group, you can create multiple categories. In my case, for the task type, I have design, programming, and review, like app reviews, and I could add more here. And for the project, I have like body crouch, code review, open focus timer, app review, the apps that I basically worked on till now. Any list is missing in that list, but that's what we want to add now as a feature. Currently, this is not editable. This list is not editable, so these I'm basically stuck with these. and we want to make it editable so I can add new ones, and that's the feature that we want to create next. I don't think that we're going to complete that, but maybe we can start doing that. That's completely different part of the brain working. Yeah, design and coding, and that's true. I had a designer friend, and he had basically he's an architect actually, so not a designer directly, but he's also doing some designs. But he's an architect, and he wanted me to create his website, and he has like this idea what the apps websites should look like. And then I said like, yeah, I'm not really a website developer, but like for you, I can try to set up something that was that basically fits your thing. And then we sat together and I developed it on his side, and he was like, wait, this is like exactly the opposite of what I'm doing. I'm designing things and I'm breaking that down later to the numbers and values and things like that. So I'm starting with the visual part, and then I'm going to like the numbers and the hard part. And you're doing the exact opposite. You're writing the hard code and things like that, and from the code you're building the visual part. And it was like exactly the opposite direction. That's how he put it, and I found that interesting. As an architect, different view there. Yeah, but that's that. So let's see, and this is a design question now. How do we want to actually implement this? Adding new categories. So first, this view is starting to look pretty ugly again. Like, what is all this empty space? But let's add that feature. We're going to have like a design UI improvement stream specifically for that, where we're going to do that. But where can we, like, let's think about information architecture. Where does it make most sense to add new categories? I could just add a button here, like add new category, but that doesn't feel right in the timer view, right? This is the timer view, and I just want to have timer related things here. And one thing we could do is here in the screen where we can select, we could just add an entry called create new or something like that, and then we could get a new UI for that. So that's one thing I can imagine we could be doing. So we are able to create a new one right in the place where we need it. And that's, I think, definitely always something that's good to do, to keep the things that belong together close. And it's about task types, it's about categories, so it should be here. Another thing we could do is we could go into like settings. We don't have a settings screen for focus timer yet, but we could create one and we could make a list of categories there. So that's the two ideas I have. I don't know, Jeremy, you're around, so what do you think? Do you think it's more important to have it here? Do you think it's better to have it in the settings? Do you have an entirely different idea? Or do you think we should do both anyways? So any inputs there are welcome. How about a beautiful side tab with an external lip? I don't know what an external lip is, but a side tab, you mean like here, like a sidebar, something like here, this thing here. The goal is just to let me show that. The goal is currently we're using this here, and this app, for example, has a timer view, and the view you just saw, that is supposed to be the timer view. And then you can go to statistics here, and for some reason they're using the same view, just going into detail screen. I think it should be like every other feature should be in like their separate windows, and they're like hiding all the settings here on the side. And I'm not really a fan of that. I think though that a timer view should be its own window, and I have closed it now. I think it disappeared. It should be its own window, and this is the time. It's supposed to be the timer view. No, more like a note taker counter that has a colorful lip, like a back window that get extracted once you click. Note taker counter that get extracted once you click. I don't get what you mean. A back window, like a... And in any case, what you're trying to say is I should have my own screen for that, right? I would suggest a panel opening on the bottom or the side of the main window for displaying settings. Okay, so the question is this a main window? Probably right now it is, because we don't have any other windows. Oh wait, yes, a panel in an independent screen. Ah, I see, okay. Okay. You mean something like this, like a modal, or do you want it to be like its own window? That's like a different thing, or just a sidebar thing. And And what do you think about adding a button here, just saying like create a new one, and then when I click that, I would just open a window here, or maybe a modal here. But I guess that's really not relevant for now, because first we need to have that feature. I would open the main view to let the settings appear. I see, okay. So maybe we should start with like a main window view for like other features of this app. And we're going to have more features. We're going back here. Currently, we're all focusing on the timer. And the categories is just a selector that we have right now. We don't have the view for that. The reflection, we only have the edit reflection screen. We don't have like a history. I don't appreciate the idea of pop-up like open a tab on the side if that is more convenient. I have a very nice image, but not sure how to implement it. Okay, like break it in the middle. I would open on the, like break it in the middle. Break it in the middle, you mean like this is, I'm still on the same window? I don't quite understand what you mean. Maybe you have some link where I can just look up something like you mean. But I think we should what I wanted to go to is we are going to have history, we're going to have statistics, reflection, categories, editor. Maybe we should just start working on the main window of the app as well. To have like a like for the iOS app. Let's also go to the iOS app, because we have to also consider the iOS app. Currently we're only considering the Mac app. Let me run that. So for the iOS app, the timer view is probably when you're doing a timer, the main screen, but as you can see, when we start the app, it's going to get into the timer view right away. I'm not sure if that's going to be how it is going to stay. I can imagine that we have like a tabbed view here where you can go through these different sections, categories, reflection, history, etc. And you could basically, in any of these sections, just click a plus button or something like that and start a timer, and then this would appear modally. That's how I'm imagining it for the iOS app. Can I post a link? Yeah, sure. Please do that. In my stream, you're free to advertise your streams too. So if you're streaming, feel free to post your link. I'm all open for that. I don't care. This is what the idea I had in mind. Let me have a look. Just post it. You mean like small post-its, something like that, or do you mean like these things on the side? This is what you mean, right? Okay, now I get your idea. Like a lip that gets out. Ah, okay, I see. That's what you mean. Ah, okay. But how would that work on iOS? I would have the same on iOS too? So we're going to like skeuomorphism? I will consider that. And one thing I'm planning for the Open Focus Timer, you can see it here, is implement a multi-design chooser for the timer screen for the community to add more UIs. Because I can imagine there are other developers who are interested in like doing some work, some coding, but they don't really know where to start. They don't have an app idea or something like that. Or someone just needs a different view for their focus timer. So because this is all open source, you can find it, by the way. Let me just give you the project link here. Basically, because this is open source, I want people to be able to just add their own ideas of what their timer should look like. So this entire screen is going to be editable. And that's also great about the architecture I'm using, is I have a store, and this just holds the data, and we could easily use a completely different view. So this view type could be just exchanged for a different one. And that's what I'm planning to implement. So maybe what you're saying with the lips on the side is something that could be implemented. Anyhow, I think what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to start implementing that main screen. with these things here, maybe as a sidebar, because I think that goes very well into iOS as well. Where in the iOS app, we're going to have like a tab bar, and on the Mac main window, we're going to have like a sidebar like this here. I don't know if I can find an app that has something like that. Maybe this one. Yeah, not really. This is not exactly what I'm looking for, but something like a sidebar on the left. And on the right, we have like for example, if you click here to categories, you see the categories, you can edit them. Maybe something like that. That's what I'm imagining right now. I didn't get Monsieur B's idea though. Panel, independent screen. I would open the main window to let the settings appear. Like break it in the middle. Okay, I will just start working on the main window. We can still adjust things. So that means that we're going to have a new window, which is something very interesting as well. Searching for an example. Okay, I'm going to have a look once you have an example. We're going to have a new window. That means on the top level of our app, which is here, we have a window group that just opens the app entry point view, and we need a new window group. Let me create a new window group. And this one is going to be the main screen now. And this is the app entry point view, but I believe this is not really the app entry point. This will change to be the timer view directly. Does the app entry point do anything right now? No, it's just holding a timer state. It has a did appear and handling the timer action. So we could, I think, handle it directly from here. We could just say like, hey, this is the timer view. Because the naming app entry point isn't right, because this is not the app entry point entirely. So we just call this the timer view, and I have to import timer feature for that. Let's import it in the app properly. App entry point, let's import timer feature instead. Same in the macOS app. I think we can get rid of the app entry point. Actually, I think we don't need this entire thing here. Or we do have a database seeder. What does this do? So on did appear, we are seeding data. So we might actually need to do this elsewhere. I have to go, my apologies, I'll come back another time. Yeah, sure, I am streaming every Friday, so, and that's my current schedule at least, so next week, Friday, I'll be back. And thank you for jumping in, saying hello. Thank you very much, have a nice stream, yeah, have a nice day, have a nice evening. Take care, have a nice weekend. Bye. Okay, I think I'm doing too much here. I'm just going to keep the app entry point. So let me actually revert everything here from right there. Because I actually don't want to do two things at once. I'm just going to write a to-do comment instead. So instead of refactoring this right now, I'm just going to write refactor this to be to call or integrate timer feature directly. Instead, we're going to focus on a new window. So the new window group will be basically the main window, I would say. We can call it something like the main window of this app, or the settings window. It's not really settings though. The settings probably are like global things like preferred color. I think this is the main window with the whole screens and things like that. So we need a new main feature, something like that. App entry point definitely needs to be renamed. That's also added here. Remove app entry point entirely. Timer feature. So I'm going to create a new feature. Main feature. You could also call it main window. Probably makes also sense. But we call the timer feature also timer. Let's call it main feature. And I'm going to go with the main window. Let's add it here. So this is the app modularization things that we need to do. It's not what I was saying, but it is also a nice way to display short settings. Let me have a look. Okay, so you have like a top bar and you have like buttons to show some settings on the top bar. Or do you mean this thing here, like a pop-up? I mean, it's both pop-up. Yeah, I think I get this for the Mac app, but do you think it's really a good design for an iOS app as well? So, I mean, I have talked about pop-ups before I implemented this because I considered making this a pop-up. But what I don't like about pop-ups is when it shows up as a pop-up like here, like this did, then when I click anywhere outside, for example, I switch to a different app to copy some text over, and then I come back, the pop-up disappeared. So I can't, like, if I'm here, I want to paste some code or something, and this is a pop-up, then it disappears. So I'm not a huge fan of pop-ups for like more detailed settings or something like that. Maybe for something like switching and choosing a color or something like that, where you can't really paste, where there's no text to edit and things like that. I can understand that. But also for an iOS app, I'm not sure if that's going to work. I think I'm going to stick with the tab bar and a sidebar on tab bar on iOS and a sidebar on macOS. I think that's also what users totally understand. And then the timer view itself will be a modal on iOS, full screen modal, I guess. And on the Mac app, it's just going to be another window. And we might still, right in here, add a button to add a new one. What do you think about that, Jeremy? I don't know. Or anyone else. Jeremy is not the only one who has to answer all the questions. Okay, let's add the Mac window, the main window. So, here. Let's add a new target. We have definitely some dependencies. Yes, we will have the dependency to composable architecture. And we can add everything else later. It's a good one. Sorry, a lot of kids around me. No worries. Do you have guests at your house, or is it your own kids? Like, I have to go to my family duties, catching up for the next time. Enjoy, everyone. Thank you for chiming in. Jeremy, have a nice weekend and have fun with the kids and your family. See you around. No, the neighbors. Okay, that's fine too. Yeah, bye. Okay, timer reducer. Yeah, I just want to copy these three so I have a good starting point for the main window. I don't have to write everything freshly. I just option clicked, so if you option click something and drag it, you'll always find that macOS actually everywhere, it just copies them instead of moving them. So option click is always a good idea. Let me remove all of these. And let's just rename everything that starts with timer. I guess I can remove the whole contents here. I'm keeping this one though. Okay. Timer is main window. Main window. State in action. Nothing in here yet. Name that as well. actions. Empty the initializer. Remove the logic, data logic, and the actions. Oops, not that way. To main window action and main window state. And let's rename it here as well. We'll probably have to import most of the things, but for now, let's just remove them all. And for the view, let me just go with text stating this is the main window. Now we can rename everything. Main window and main window reducer. Go to the main window target. Let's see if it builds. Doesn't, of course. Yeah, this doesn't take any arguments. The environment mocked is in the utility library, I think, right? App environment. We have to import utility here. Build again. macOS only is probably... Oh, wait a sec, I'm calling it window and I'm going to use it on iOS as well, and it's not a window, you know, right? Or it is. Is it? I think we might have issues with iOS and macOS. We might have to handle the top level differently. I'll consider that next time, so let me just write it down. I'll consider that on iOS. There might just be a window. Change the name. Let's save time today. Why is there no building? This should work. Should have access to. Environment is app environment. We have to import utility here, of course. I think I have to clean build. For some reason I'm getting errors that I actually shouldn't get, because append should be available through utility. We have to rename this, of course, to main window view. Main window view, yeah. Window view is like not really a good name. The building though. The preview. Seems to be building. Oh no, it's not. In the reducer, expected expression. Yeah, this is much. Wild passage appears. Let's catch it. What is that for a Pokemon? Ah, okay, okay. So now it builds, and main window, main screen, main view, main feature. You can add an overlay, then you can see the Pokemon which appears. Oh, okay. I'll have to look that up. Maybe I should just get into your stream and just see how you're handling that. Is it shown here? Not sure. Okay, I think I'm just going to call this main feature. A lot of renames. Let's rename this. Okay, I can't rename it that way. Let's go to here and fix it here first. Main feature. Main feature and this main feature state passage has been caught. No, it's browser. It's a browser source. You can add and put it wherever you want. Ah, I see. Okay. Also, the timer is up. I'm going to ignore that for now. Let's finish this up here and close this off. Main feature action. Main feature view. Main feature. Let's also rename these things. See if it builds. Should build. And let's see if we get a preview here. Passage has been caught by Jihad and Novas. What does your name Novas1R1 stand for, by the way? Because I had problems finding your name before when we mentioned you in the stream. And yeah, I'm just curious. Noah's Siri. That's what it means. Okay. I get it. So the iOS previews work, for some reason after the preview works and renders, it does get an error afterwards. I don't know why, but there's a lot of bugs in Xcode 13.3 specifically, but WWDC is around the corner, so I think we're going to have some changes there. So the next thing we're basically going to do is continue here, add or link, show main feature, basically. Let's start sidebar and tab bar based main screen. And that is also not only in the code what we want to do next, but also in our summary of the session. Let's go there, summarize what we did here. So the next step is this one here. Add a feature to create new categories. That's basically why we need to create this, because that's where we're going to do that. Well, what else did we do? Show summary entries on end of the timer and start creating a main feature package for a main screen. Basically, that's the summary then. Let's finish up the commit. Always checking twice if everything's looking fine. I think the app won't build right now, right? So if I went to the app target and I build, yeah, I guess the build is failing, but not here. Where is it failing? Oh, some caching issues. Build again. Build is taking quite long right now. Don't know why, really. Let me stop. everything here. Okay, anyways, even if this doesn't build, I want to commit this as is. Then we're going to fix the non-building situation next week. These changes look good. This is looking good. Okay. Well, I mean, there's nothing in there yet. Maybe I just comment this out, except for this line. And then it should be building, right? Ease. I like not to push something that doesn't build. I don't think that's a good thing. Come on. Okay. I think this is building. And if it's not, I'm going to just make it build with the smallest change possible after stream. Let's summarize. Start creating a new main feature as the main screen. So format is doing some formatting changes. And that's the commit. So, just to summarize what we've done this stream. We have Open Focus Timer. This is already part 15. And we started by fixing the issue with the category pickers not setting their value correctly. So maybe also let's write down the learning here. The learning basically there, which I explained there, was that when you pass a tag to a view, any view actually, in SwiftUI, make sure to an optional tag value to a view in SwiftUI, make sure to make the optionalness explicit. Yeah, I think that's how I can put it. I explained it more detail in the section. Then we added the edit categories and edit summary buttons. We showed the category pickers on start of the timer, so when you click start, it shows automatically. And on end, we're showing a button basically that you can do that. Show summary entry. Show edit summary entries button on end of a timer. And start creating a main feature. That's basically what we've done. We have this problem with the sheet is presented, but we fixed it by finding out basically why that happened. And that was related to exactly this. This is the learning for this problem. Then when using TCA, we should never make a state conform to equatable. That was also an issue. We had a custom equatable implementation, and that created a problem because now our state basically actually changed, but SwiftUI didn't understand that our state had changed, so it didn't update the view. And yeah, we should not make custom equatable conformance, because we can, when we add a new field, we can forget adding that, and then we run into this problem. Next steps, we already talked about that. So this is what we're going to do next. And before I close up the stream, two quick mentions. So first, my other links. So I started with this at the start of my stream. So I have a blog. If you don't follow me there, let's also add it in the chat. You can check out my blog here. And I just recently wrote about basically why I'm streaming also. So I have an article about that and my hardware setup. And next week I'm going to also write an article about my software setup, what software I'm using, and my settings, basically. So anyone else who's interested in streaming too can maybe learn from there and do that. And this week, because Apple actually announced the timing of the Worldwide Developer Conference they're going to hold in June 6th this year. Basically my top 3 wishes for that, like what features I'm expecting, what I'm hoping for there. And yeah, feel free to check out my blog post here on jihad.medium.com. Then obviously my Twitter, twitter.com/jihad. And I also have a YouTube channel with just 50 subscribers till now, because I'm just resharing the streams there as recordings. I'm just cutting out the breaks and things like that. But I am planning to do more here on that channel as well, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that. And otherwise, if you like this video, if you're watching this from YouTube, make sure to like it right now down below. And thank you everyone else who has chimed in. I'm going to be rating Aflux now, so make sure to say hello and yeah, stay there and have a good time with him there. And other than that, thank you very much for chiming in, and see you next time. Oh, I'm missing something here. I'm too slow with these rates, but I'm going to rate, so just stay tuned. So thank you very much and see ya. Bye.